And welcome back to another daily devotion. I am Pastor Roy here at Woodlawn Christian Church in Lake City, Iowa, and this devotion is for Tuesday, March 5th of 2024. We are in the Gospel of Mark, and we're in chapter 11. Yesterday we talked about the grand entry, the triumphant entry, I should say. That was a reasonably long devotion. Today we're going to try to make this one a shorter devotion. We're just going to look at three verses today. We're going to look at verses 12, 13, and 14 in chapter 11 of Mark's Gospel. This is the beginning of a story that some call a lived-out parable, a live-action parable, I guess, if you will. And so we're going to talk a little bit about it today, but we're going to complete the discussion on Thursday because between these two, this is also, it was kind of a sandwiched story where you've got stories that you have to kind of digest together, if you will. We're talking about eating and figs is what it's talking about, but that's an aside there. So we're going to have the story of the cleansing of the temple tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we will talk about this story again because he comes back with the lesson from the withered fig tree. This is a story that causes people a little bit of uncomfortableness, a little bit of confusion even. What in the world's going on with Jesus? Why did he curse this fig tree? What is the problem here? And sometimes people use this, the Muslims, for example, use this to show that Jesus didn't know what he was talking about, that he was a fool, and he obviously could not be omnipotent if he didn't know what was going on here, and that he had no power. They kind of forget the power when we get to Thursday. We'll be talking about that the tree died. Well, he killed the tree with words. So let's jump into the verses, talk about them some more, and then we'll complete it on Thursday. So you're going to have to come back on Thursday to learn the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would have said. But without further ado, verses 12, 13, and 14 in the 11th chapter of Mark. On the following day, when they came from Bethany, he was hungry, and seeing in the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went to see if he could find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And he said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard it. Okay, and they're probably going, "Oh, Jesus, what's going on?" Maybe not. Maybe they knew what was going on. We read that and we say, it's not the season for figs. Jesus, why did you think you'd find something to eat on it? Well, there's a reason for that. Fig trees over there by the end of the month of March, which we are in, and this would have been about the time that Jesus was there for Passover, would be in that realm. And Passover kind of runs with along the lines of Easter. The trees would have been in leaf. And when the trees come into leaf, like sometimes with other types of fruity trees that have fruit, you have kind of a forerunner, if you will, of the fruit that's there, like a little green nub that is formed, and it's called a talk. I can't pronounce it quite right in the Aramaic, but that's what it's called. It's basically a forerunner, if you will, a pre-fruit, a pre-fig, and as it develops, the fig kind of grows along, perhaps under it, I guess, is my understanding. Don't quote me. I'm not an agronomist, and I'm not an expert in fig trees, but I do know this much. And that part falls away, and you have the fig will form. Now, these little knobs that are there, these forerunners, are edible. And the peasantry in that part of the world would eat them if need be. If they were desperate, they would eat those. They were edible. There was some nourishment available from them. So Jesus, seeing it in leaf, meant that there should be these little tonk, if I'm pronouncing that right, tunch, or forerunners of the figs, if we will. Perhaps we're safer with that, with Roy and his pronunciation skills. But at any rate, I digress. He realized those should be there, and they're not. And what is the interplay there is, if you don't find these little forerunners of figs, you ain't going to get any figs that year. If they're not there, you're not going to have figs. They go hand in hand. It's impossible to have figs without those little forerunners to the figs, those taunch. And so Jesus says, there's no one going to eat fruit on you. Nobody's going to eat fruit from you. Can't even eat the little forerunners of the fruit. You're worthless to me at this point. So Jesus is not foolish. Jesus doesn't know what's going on. And quite honestly, Jesus knows better than we know. This is something I just recently learned. Learning is good. And it's something that hopefully you've learned now. When you read this, you're not going to think, Jesus, you're unreasonable. You're foolish. He's not unreasonable. He's not foolish. He had every expectation and every indication that there might be some bare minimum of nourishment on that tree. And there's none, not a nothing. It's as there's no nourishment in it. Now, we'll talk on Thursday about what is the tree representing in this lived out parable, because that's what parables do. We'll talk about that Thursday. Come on back. Don't forget. Have a blessed day. And please do be a blessing to someone today. If you enjoy these devotions, please like and subscribe. Come on back. Feel free to share them. We'd love to have you back again. And if you'd be so kind as to make a kind comment, feel free. Love to hear from you. God bless. Be a blessing to someone today. And God loves you. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. I hope.